Yeah.
They got to put their egos aside to finish the job. Never mind.
Or Brad Pitt has to put his sandwiches aside to finish the job.
Nachos.
I have to
I need
eventually
nachos
do a long road
and
to on the Ocean's movies where I will continually make that joke.
I think we should list everything he's eaten in the movie.
I want to know why. That was the thing they went with in the Ocean's movies. Like, if we could just have skinny ass Brad Pitt fucking eating in every scene, that'd be great.
Just to give us hope that we eat that can look like
Chris,
him.
Yeah, really.
I really like this movie. I thought this movie was really fun.
Okay, so a couple of things. One, this was originally supposed to have a wide release in theaters, and they fucking yanked that shit. I'm sure some of it was after what Argyle went through, where Argyle tanked.
Yeah.
And it did fine once it was on streaming, but it did not draw a crowd to the theaters. Nothing does. Unless it's Deadpool with Wolverine. Or an animated feature that isn't gay. So, like, nothing is drawing a crowd right now. And I can see why they got cold feet after Argyle. My second to that and related to it, so I had no interest in this movie, to be honest with you. I didn't care one way or the other. It wasn't on our list of things to talk about, regardless of whether it went straight to Apple Plus or it went to wide release. My son, however, and there's a point that I'm trying to make here, my son saw the trailer for this in one of the 87 movies we went to this year and was like, "Dad, this looks amazing. Take me to see Wolves." And I went, okay, sure. I made sure I put it on my calendar. I made sure I marked the date, followed it when they pulled it from the theaters and put it on Apple Plus. Made sure it was a week that I had him. And I was like, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to watch this movie. I sent my girlfriend out of the house, me, him and his sister all camped out on the couch, and we watched this. And when it was over, we both went, that trailer lied to us. That trailer made that trailer, which caught the attention and the heart of a 10-year-old boy who wanted action, comedy, zest, verve. I like those on a woman. And then we saw the movie Johnny Dangerously. Come on, guys. And then we saw the movie.
Yeah.
And we were like, that was not nearly as fun as the trailer led us to believe it would be. And that's my whole thing with this movie. I'll take a breath so that you guys can chime in. But, like, one, this is the kind of movie that would have been a big hit 30 years ago. This would have been a modest hit with two bankable,
it's an old-fashioned movie.
Stars. Right. Because it probably had a modest budget. Not counting like the actor salaries, like I don't think they spent a lot on shooting this thing. It would have, drawn an adult crowd. People would have, enjoyed it. Would have made its money back, and we would have moved on with our life. There's no room in the theaters for this sort of thing now. I'm not surprised it went straight to streaming, but also like I don't know what Jon Watts was going for with this movie because the trailers would have you believe it's kind of an action comedy. It's going to be a little slapsticky. George Clooney and Brad Pitt are going to pinch and tickle each other's nipples. And then you watch it. And it's slow. It's drawn out. It's talky, but kind of in a circular sense. And it feels like there are movies that can get away with this. This one fails at it. There are movies that can get away with the actors know what's going on. The characters in the movie, they have an idea of what's going on. The audience is completely fucking lost, but you're so involved in what's happening, you'll go along for the ride for the big reveal at the end and go, aha, satisfying ending. This one loses you immediately and never takes you back, and the ending isn't satisfying.
So,
I have to agree with you.
Sorry,
are we talking over each other?
No, it's just I think there's a delay. Okay. I think there's a delay.
There is a delay, Neil.
Can we come back to you?
Poor Neil.
So I don't know if I enjoyed this, but might have to do with I watched an hour after I saw Joker 2, so
that's
maybe
fair.
That had something to do. Yeah,
I would have enjoyed a root canal at the Joker. Go ahead, Neil.
So I have to agree with a lot that you said there because I really feel like this was all live. They just based it on the fact that Brad Pitt, George Clooney. Of course, you'll see this because it's Brad Pitt, George Clooney, and there wasn't a lot of I wanted this to be better than what it was. Like there was no stuff. There seems like a lot of parts. There was no substance. It was like I don't know if they even had a script at certain parts. I think they just said, "Hey, you guys are both on the screen. Why don't you guys just talk to each other
just
and your characters?
Yeah,
just riff." Like, because I felt like several scenes like that were like that,
Mhm.
and then even when they had the scenes with that kid who Austin Abrams, like literally, I think he was like in the scene just like didn't know what to say because he's in front of George Clooney and Brad Pitt, two of the biggest names in cinema history. So I think he was confused, and that's what it kind of looked like on the screen as their characters. Like everybody was confused on what to say.
Yeah, like
I don't know if the
straight. Yeah, like he was the straight girl in a threesome with 2 gay guys. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
It's not gay if it's in the
so when I was a kid, I always wondered why the leads in movies look so old, right? And now I realize that's because they're old, like these two people, right? So,
dude, my kids were so
they
funny.
look
They're
fine.
like, how old is Brad Pitt? 100? And I was like, Jesus, Lily.
105.
And so, I actually enjoyed this movie, and I told Mark that I saw it like an hour after I saw Joker 2, so that might have something to do with me enjoying this more. It's kind of hard not to be wrapped up in the charisma of George Clooney and Brad Pitt, because I didn't see them as markers. I saw them as George Clooney and Brad Pitt, giant movie stars. I do agree that it got a little slow, but I did enjoy my time with this. It was something I'm gonna remember.
Movie.
Yeah, I didn't have too many gripes with it. Not that it was great. Like 10 minutes later after I walked, I turned it off. I barely remembered it, but I do remember enjoying my time watching this.
That's the problem. Oh yeah, that's the problem. Like, this is a good movie. It's an entertaining movie. It's just not super entertaining. It's nothing like, of course you remembered Ocean's 11 after, because they did that awesome epic scheme that literally afterwards you're like, how did they really, like, you thought of that, but like this was not clever enough. It didn't have enough. It didn't have enough wit to it.
This, I don't want to go what's becoming for me, I think, a low-hanging fruit kind of standby thing that I say about everyone. So I don't want to take away the power of this phrase by saying, was this directed by an autistic person? But it does. But it does feel. This doesn't feel like it was directed by somebody who doesn't understand people. This one felt like it was directed by artificial intelligence. Like,
there we go. I agree with that. Right, boom, out the park, bro.
The script and the directing very much felt like if you fed ideas to an AI and said, generate me a movie, this is what it would give you.
The problem is, I really like the Cop Car, which Jon Watts did before. Cop Car, that's a pretty fucking, to me, that's a pretty good movie. And then he did I think all 3 Spider-Man movies, and came back to non-IP with this. But it does feel like IP, this movie. You know what I mean? Like it feels like something that's been made before, and this is like the sequel or whatever. And
hey, I got an idea for a movie. Brad Pitt, George Clooney.
Here's the thing. Like that whole opening sequence goes on way too long with Amy Ryan.
Yes.
They should have gotten to the setup of these 2 guys are professional criminals and they don't like each other, but they gotta work together because a guy is alive when he should have been dead. Hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
I wonder what the 80s trailer for this would look like.
10 minutes we needed to get there. We got there in 45. Like, what the fuck were we doing in this movie?
Yeah, and when you find out like the intrigue part of it, like you find out who the kid actually is, you're like, oh, this is what this is. Like, you're kind of you're underwhelmed, and like I said, and you expect this kid to be something else, and he has apparently amazing integrity when it comes to his body, but and then it turns into kind of like a we're looking after this child, which is kind of
it's 2 men and a baby.
Yeah.
This will be the last thing I say, because I know Neil is always like itching to move us out of the actual review. But there was no fun to be had here. And that's the thing. Like, it was like they cut the trailer to say, here's a slapsticky action comedy with these two megastars, and they don't like each other, and they're going to poke each other in the eye, Three Stooge style. And then you watch it, and it's so much more serious and dramatic than, like, this shouldn't be the bar to which you should judge movies, but try to hear my point on this. My kids wanted to see this because they thought it was going to be a lot more fun than it actually was. When it was over, like, we were going to do a double feature. We were going to do that and LOL with Miley Cyrus and Demi Moore. I will talk about that tomorrow. But my point is, like, by the there's a whole triple feature I'm doing on French movies that have American remakes. That's one of them. The other one is Blame It on Rio.
Nice.
Anyway, but my point is, like, we got to the end of Wolves, and both my kids were like, "Fuck off, we're going to bed." Like, that movie hurt us as children, and we're done now. Good night. I'm like, all right. So yeah, like, it's, to Chris's point, it's a well-made action drama. It's a poor comedy, and that's what it was sold as, and that's kind of my gripe with this movie. But other than that, it felt soulless. It felt like, again, I say artificial intelligence because it just doesn't feel like it had that extra layer of humanity that makes us remember films and turns us into dorky podcasters. Like, it's missing that. Like I really wanted to come on here and talk about it, and then I saw it and I was like, yeah, if I miss this, I'm not going to cry. But, you know, no. Spectrum restored my internet, so here I am.
Directed, written by ChatGPT. So,
yes. On that note, Chris, what's your score for this?
3.7, maybe. That's what I'm at. Like, in that one, I liked it, but I liked it more than you guys did. But I wasn't offended by it. But again, I never saw the trailer. I had no fucking clue what this movie was when I walked into it. I hadn't seen trailers for it or anything like that. So,
when we're done here, can you please go on YouTube and go look at a couple of trailers and then get back to me, because now I need reassurance that I'm not a lunatic, or my son isn't a lunatic either.
Neil, what you got?
I think I'm going to give us like a 3.4. Like, again, it was just so underwhelming. Like, it should have been better. You got two of the major stars of Hollywood, and you're giving them the rings to actually do something. This just needed to be better written or something. Like, it didn't seem like they knew what to do with each other. And that sucks, because this is two legendary. This is like having, two legendary actors, like, just there.
I'm gonna help you because you're a wrestling Chris. Just let me and Neil kind of.
Yeah.
This is like, what if Sean and Brett, but Pat Patterson wasn't there to tell them what to do.
Gosh.
This is Sean and Brett calling it in the ring, and they keep punching each other in the face because they don't have a script to work with. They don't have a Pat Patterson telling them when to go home. So there's just fucking going, and it's awkward. And it's not really moving at the pace that it should. Like, they're getting all their shit in, but it feels off.
Yeah. It just feels off. It just feels off a little bit.
I'm going to give it 2 hurricanes and a tornado.
Okay, sounds good.
So we're not give a fuck what I say anymore. Like, whatever.
For all you guys that are just now listening or joining, Mark doesn't go by any of our rating system whatsoever.
I refuse it.
And Winfrey played along,
he did survive two hurricanes, to be honest.
So I'm stoked. I mean, I'm glad he's here. Really,
Winfrey's a rule follower, and he wants to be liked. I could give a fuck less, and I'm a punk.
Punk rock.
So I'm on RottenTomatoes.com. Neil, what is the popcorn meter for this one?
It's gonna be like 41.
That's 49%. So
can't you just say audience score like a?
I'll do that now. Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Neil,
I hate the popcorn.
I refuse to say it.
Yeah, when did you start saying popcorn? You always said audience, of course.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes wants to give us love.
Sir, put down the liquor. No more drugs for you.
This is just hint. Anyway, Neil, what's the critic score for Wolves?
That's gonna be 39%.
67%. Right?
Really?
Critics consensus is George Clooney and Brad Pitt's professional star power gives the Wolf zip even when it cycles through cliches of the fiction genre, making for a pleasing and slick throwback. I'll give you a good review and a bad review because there's plenty of both. Sorry guys, I had this like loaded up and okay. This is gonna be from Tim Cogshell of Film Week. He says, "This is fairly entertaining. Apple TV is the exact right place for it." Which that says is a glowing review, but it's not really. This is from Michael Cook of KR TV. Says, "Love seeing the banter between these two and the romance chemistry that runs all the cylinders. However, the movie surrounding them is not particularly interesting and it creaks along," which was one of your points over there, calling it slow. So it's fine.
Hey! We can't call people slow anymore, dude. I think it's part of the thing. You can't call them slow.
Neil, I'm not gonna pit bite on that one, but
no, Neil.
Wolves,
no.
You guys can find it on Apple TV if you guys really want to see it. You don't have to rush to see it. Me and Neil.
You don't have to see this movie. Fuck this movie. Moving on.
Moving on. Let's get